G'day everyone, Viv here, hope you're all keeping well. Welcome back to the second part of my ramble where I'm playing around with the crystals. In this video I go through and I base everything and I have a chat for about 45 minutes or so. It's quite a long video. So if you want to see a shorter version of it where I've just condensed everything down basically to what I'm doing in terms of the basing and why I'm doing different sorts of things, then you can check out the short version here. I don't know how long it is. It's going to certainly be much shorter than the 45 minutes, but like I said, it's a condensed version of it. So go check that out if you're interested in watching a shorter version. If you're going to stick around and watch the long version, I hope you have a good time. Be interested in your feedback and your comments afterwards. So let me know what you think about the video. I'll continue the rambling format and I'll continue the format of making a shorter version and a much longer version. So hope you enjoy. Catch you next time. See ya.
The following video is intended for a mature audience. It may contain content that is inappropriate or upsetting for some viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
Okay, so I forgot to put the camera on before when I was mixing this stuff up. This stuff is some sort of builder's cement. I can't remember what it's called. I don't have the package anymore, but it's kind of like a cement. It's got little bits of sand or grit or something in it. It's like a grout for rendering, I guess you could say. It's like, yeah, I guess that's what it is. So I'm just going to use it to base these. This is just a paddle pop stick, and we'll see how this works. I've no idea. So I don't know, I'm going to try and do this straight off the table gig. I'm not a huge rambler. Unless I've really got something to talk about, then really I don't know what to talk about, which I guess is relatively sort of straightforward. I mean, if you don't have much to talk about, then you don't have much to talk about, do you? But I'm not a huge rambler. Wow, this stuff makes a huge amount of mess. I wouldn't do this when you're wearing good clothes. But I'm really excited to be back building stuff. I don't know what I'm going to do with these crystals. I was having a chat with Scott before on Facebook, if you guys remember Scott from the bunker. Builds all the cool shit. Builds all the good stuff. Mad skills Scott has, and he's been doing some great stuff. You should go check out his blog. Which, oh shit, I can't remember what it's called. Fuck, sorry Scott. Crack in the Earth or something? I can't remember, I'll have to look it up. I don't know, I'll look it up, I'll stick it in the description and go check it out. He's been working on an awesome board for Pulp City. Scott's always been keen on Pulp City, into the superhero stuff. And his board has a whole bunch of cool buildings, some of which are commercial, some of which is scratch built. Many of them light up, which is awesome. He's put LEDs and all that sort of stuff in there. It looks really, really good. The sort of stuff that you just expect from Scott. Cool amounts of detail. And electronics, LEDs. It looks amazing. So he's doing a great job there. I'm hoping we can catch up soon. It's been a while since I've seen him. Play some Pulp City stuff around in the new workshop, build some scenery, film some Pulp City battle reports. That would be, that's I'm looking forward to that actually. It'd be nice to catch up. Scott's a really nice guy, so and he's got mad skills. I learn a lot from Scott. And I guess the biggest thing that I've learned from Scott is patience. To really make stuff look good, you've got to spend the time. And for those people that have been watching my channel for a long time, what's my mantra? Quick and easy. Quick and easy. Quick and easy means good stuff, but when you spend time, you just end up with stuff that's so much better. I've no idea how long this stuff takes to set. I'm assuming that since it's a builder's grout for rendering, it's going to take a while to set up, so I guess I don't really need to rush this process. I want to try and get all 4 of these done. I don't know if I've mixed up enough, but we'll find out sooner or later. So go check out Scott's blog. I can't remember what it's called. I'm real sorry about that, Scott. I should know it, but I don't remember. So I don't know what I'm going to do with these crystal pieces. I'm hoping I can finish these off, and I want to do a couple of raised sections, so it's just not all this low profile stuff. Maybe 2 hills or something like that, and then maybe I'll give them away, donate them to one of the clubs here in Melbourne. If you're a Melbourne viewer and you've got a wargaming club, and or you go to a wargaming club and they need some new terrain or something, or you just want to give them a shout out, then let me know. I mean, a lot of people are always asking for video responses. It's always nice to get video responses since we're on a video community website. But if you want to send me a message or post a comment or something and say, hey, look, those would be good at our club, we need some new stuff, then let me know. I'm not going to ship these overseas for obvious reasons. I'm not selling these, and shipping from Australia overseas is ridiculously expensive. So if you're a Melbourne lad or girl, 9.1% of my viewers are female. 9.1 or 9.9%? I know about 90% of them are male and the other 10% are female, obviously. But I'm keen to do that video on my stats. Like I mentioned before, it's really interesting actually. I was having a look at them before, and I was pretty much spot on. 40%, 3.3% of my viewers are between the under 17. Another 3.3, and they're all male. Another 3.3% are between the ages of 17 and 24. So that's 6.6%, and the rest are older than 24. So I said before it was 87%. It's actually much higher. It's what, 92 point something. 92 point, oh come on, get in there, 92.4 or something like that, are older than 24. So which was actually really surprising to me, because I mean, I don't know why most of the people that came to the bunker were older than 24. It's just something that you sort of associate with kids, when really, I guess they're not watching YouTube. I don't know, maybe they're just not watching my channel. I don't know. What do you think about that sort of texture? Well, we'll see how it comes up. Crystal's just sprouting out of the ground. That's a little weird. Let's build these edges up a little bit. So those, like I was saying, those stats are interesting. Good fun to look at that sort of stuff. So I've noticed, how about that airplane food? I've noticed a lot of people getting involved in the build-a-thon, which is good to see. It's always nice to be able to get inspiration that's visual, or audio visual. I get a lot of inspiration from eBay. I guess I'm a creative person, but I don't know, I'm not like a lot of other people. I lack the ability to be what's the word? Unique. I don't like to copy, but I always find it much easier to get inspiration when I'm looking at somebody else's work. It just gets my brain moving. Like Bill from Trainerholic says, he gets a lot of inspiration from video game footage, seeing the stuff that that is there in game gives him a lot of inspiration. And I guess it's the same for me. There's a lot of cool stuff in video games, but I just don't do enough of that, I suppose. Not gaming, I do a fair bit of gaming. Currently playing a bit of PlanetSide 2 with the good old 19th. G'day boys, if you're watching. Captain Torn, how you going, mate? I doubt he's watching. Sometimes he watches my channel, but he's posted a couple of comments on some of my videos. There we go, that's a little bit better. So what was that? Approximately a third of this. Okay, well, we might need a little bit more, but it's real easy. So this stuff, like I said, some sort of builder's render. A little bit of water in the cup first, and then you add this to it. Don't add the water to it, add this to the water. I don't know why. That's just the way it goes. I should put some gloves on. This shit's terrible when it gets all over your hands. It's a fucking nightmare. Because it's some sort of concrete, it's terrible. It does wash off and does clean up, but might as well put some gloves on. That way I don't have to worry about it. You know, this stuff I've also used on those big rock structures. I've got some in... Oh, look at this. This is the same stuff I've used on these sort of rock structures. And this is obviously been painted brown, but it's pretty tough stuff. And that's just one thin layer. If you did a couple of layers of it, then you'd end up with something that's pretty solid. And it already has a texture in it. It's strong, easy to use. So I like this. It's not that expensive. I think I paid $10 for a 15 kilo bag, I think, of this stuff. I mean, it's an industrial product for commercial applications, so it's not going to be massively expensive. I'm sure it's much cheaper when they buy it in these massive quantities for rendering houses and buildings or whatever the hell they do with it. But one bag of it suits my purposes. I've still got heaps of it left, but I'm enjoying working with this so far. It's easier than that goop mix that I was mixing up before with the plaster and the sawdust, and that's good for certain types of things, but I find that just for adding quick detail, quick texture to something, then this is perfectly fine. Given the fact that for the base of this anyway, most of it's going to be covered in something else like flock or something, static grass or something that's going to give some sort of greenery or something, whatever. So, and this is actually quite nice to apply it with this little popsicle stick. That's what you guys in America call these popsicle sticks. We call them paddle pops because of the brand of ice cream that these come on, called paddle pops. But for those big rock structures, I normally use my hands just to smear it all over, but since I've got these crystals in the way and I'm trying to avoid splashing too much up onto the sides of these, it's much easier with this little paddle pop stick. What did I just call it? Popsicle stick. A popsicle. So me and my wife are trying to organise a trip to America. Want to come over and catch up with a couple of the other YouTube producers and have a chat about a couple of ideas that are floating around, and say howdy, catch up with some friends, meet some family. So I don't know when that's going to happen. It's going to be relatively soon. I mean, my wife was talking about flying out next Wednesday, which is in a couple of days. But I mean, we've got to organise visas and all that sort of stuff, and I have a mile past, so I need to get that sorted out. I don't know what that's going to do in terms of migrate in terms of visas and all that sort of stuff. So we'll see. Maybe I'll be considered an undesirable in the US. I don't know. Just a dude that likes to play with miniatures who smoked a bit of weed when he was younger. Come on, let me in. This is actually going to add a little bit of weight to these pieces too. This stuff, it actually is quite heavy. But I'm enjoying this. That wasn't a very good idea. That really just took a whole bunch of that detail out. I think there's a little bit too wet. I might need to add a little bit more of this concrete stuff. Anyway, so that's that. I'm going to grab a little bit of this stuff. Oh, there we go. We've got some sitting right here. So we'll just chuck a little bit more of this stuff in and so yes, like I was saying, me and my wife want to head off to the US shortly and catch up with friends and family. So we're going to New York for certain. That's where our friends are. Oh Jesus, these pants are going to be fucking ruined. Oh, you know what? You know what I need? I need those. Oh, where are they? Need those lab coats that we used to have at the bunker. Probably packed up somewhere. So if you've got something in New York that you reckon we should go and see, Demon Jester J I was chatting with. Oh, come on, fuck! And I shouldn't be wearing these shoes either. Oh, she's gonna kill me. My wife bought me these shoes for Christmas, and they're supposed to be for walking and getting fit and all that other sort of stuff. And they're currently getting concrete dripped all over them. I was chatting with Demon Jester J before on Skype, and he was saying that I need to go check out Vinnie's on 11th. Apparently it's supposed to be the original Vinnie's. There's 24 of them in New York now, and he said that's the original. So Vinnie's on 11th. Anyone in New York confirm? Where should I go to get good pizza? Do you guys call it pizza or do you call it pie? What's the deal with American calling stuff pie? Is it pizza pie? Because for me a pie is something that sits in pastry. But I think it's slightly different in the US. Why do we always talk about the US here on YouTube? I think the Europeans get sort of the raw end of the deal. No one ever mentions the Europeans. I'm sorry, European people. I do need to go to London soon. I've got family there that I have never visited. And these are like my immediately family, my brothers and sisters. My mum was based in London for 6 years. She's currently here in Sydney, but and I've never been there. So I should get my lazy ass over there for a bit of a holiday. Maybe I'll go there for a bit of business as well. And my software company writes database systems for recruitment and training companies. So whilst we only operate in the Australian market right now, then I can head off to places like the US and England, and I've chatted with a few companies there, but we've never really done anything together. So I'm very keen to do something. Certainly in England. But the employment and recruitment everywhere is tough right now. Certainly, especially in America. So So we'll see what happens there. I'd love to be able to go there and claim some of it as a business expense. That would be nice. And I'm talking about a legitimate business expense. I'm not talking about those shonkies that sort of just do sort of like these from these big high rolling companies that do these fraudulent sort of overseas holidays and stuff and do nothing. Have one business meeting and claim it on tax as a tax deduction and all that sort of stuff. There's a certain amount of that you can get away with, but it gets to the point where it's so we're going to go to New York, definitely. Want to get across to the East Coast to visit some family that I've got there. Chung from the Wargamers Consortium is on the East Coast, as far as I'm aware. Wouldn't mind getting up to Canada to go visit my pal Adam from Greenleaf Terrain. He lives 20 minutes over the border in Canada, on the west side. So wouldn't mind going over there and catching up with him. So what would be your recommendations? America is my biggest audience. So what would you guys suggest that we do whilst we're in America? Where else should we go? What else should we see? I'd love to go to what's that big park called? Yosemite, Yellowstone. What's it called? Is it called Yellowstone, or is that the volcano? I'd love to get there. Did I forget to turn that fucking mic on again? No. Good. It's on. I always forget to switch that on. I should just use the microphone in the camera, but I like that the shotgun mic that's on there. It just picks up a better sound. And if there's stuff happening behind the camera, then it really doesn't pick too much of that up. It does pick some of it, but most of the stuff that it's picking up is in front of the camera, so that's why I use it. But I have to remember to switch it on. And half of the time, way more than half of the time, I forget to switch it on, so I sit here and film stuff, and then after a little bit of time I realise, I don't know if I switched the mic on. Or I go to switch the mic off in between scenes or something, and I realise, hang on, there's no green light here on the mic. Jesus, that 20 minutes of stuff that I've just filmed, I've got to redo. So if you saw the bloopers at the end of the chair vid, that happened. And I actually built a couple of those chairs now because of that bloody mic. But that's alright. That's alright. We all survive. I should have tapered the edges of these bases, but no, well, whatever. Whatever. Alright, so I think we might get all four of these with this this cement. This piece is a little random and odd. You know what I need? To get into the middle of these. Oh, you can't see what the hell I'm doing. I wonder how long it's been like that for. To get into the middle of these crystals. What am I doing? Can you even see what I'm doing over there? Camera? Probably not. So at least it's just the ramble, then you can have playing in the background of whatever you're doing. Probably something more interesting and productive than what I'm doing here. But like I said, I'm not a rambler. Well, having said that, I've just been talking pretty much non-stop for almost 20 minutes, so maybe I am. I'd really love to see what other people are doing in terms of scenery. Everyone shows their miniatures and their painting and all that sort of stuff, but surely you guys must have some terrain. You must be playing games on something, or do you go somewhere else to play games and you don't have any scenery at home? I'd love to see what people have. It doesn't need to be amazing stuff. I think that's something that makes this hobby interesting. Is we love to look at stuff. We're a very visual crowd, and we like to see stuff. And yes, we critique stuff, but nonetheless, it'd be interesting. Everyone shows their miniatures and how to paint this, and check out this, and this is my little vlog on this, but no one ever shows their scenery. Aside from those guys that are builders. And then our side of the hobby is more focused towards building stuff than it is painting miniatures and actually playing games. I enjoy painting miniatures when I'm in the mood for it, but otherwise it drives me batty half the time. When I'm in the mood for it, I'll sit down and paint for hours. But otherwise, fuck, it drives me nuts. Tiny little miniatures, brushes and colour and... But when I'm into it, shit, I'll paint for hours. Watch the same DVD over and over and over. A Knight's Tale is one of my favourite painting DVDs with Heath Ledger. Surely you've seen it. I don't know why, but it's just one of those things that I put on when I'm painting. And I'll paint all sorts of stuff watching that. I've painted heaps of different sorts of stuff. Fantasy stuff, sci-fi, modern. I painted a lot of my Force on Force figures. Well, again, they're not Force on Force figures, but they're figures that I can use for Force on Force. Whilst watching that, I painted Mercs figures, Lord of the Rings, fantasy. Painted a lot of my Imperial Fists, watching that DVD, back at the old bunker. What's your favourite painting DVD? Do you have one? Or oh man, that was a huge blob. Shit. I love it how I just sit here and keep on complaining and swearing about the fact that I'm dropping concrete all over my shoes, and I don't take a break to go up and put some work boots on. That would be appropriate for sitting out here and getting concrete and crap all over me. Ah! There we go. I just want to get this done. Once this is done, then it's just a matter of waiting for it to dry. So, and I'm not that far away from it. And then I'll go change my shoes and I'll come out here and I won't do anything. Watch. Well, yes. There goes more. So what's your painting DVDs? Do you have them? How do you bide your time when you're just sitting there doing the same thing? That's why I like painting skirmish armies as opposed to big, or skirmish forces, I guess you could say, instead of armies, because more often than not you're painting different sorts of characters. And I mean, Mercs is a classic example of that. Mercs is a very small skirmish game. They're made by a small company. They only have 6 figures per faction, and they've openly admitted that they just do a couple of miniatures. They don't have a full-on intensive release schedule of wave after wave of miniatures. That was something that drove me batty with Malifaux, is that the range just grew so quickly that as a retailer, and as a player, it was so difficult to keep up with what was going on. So many new miniatures, and I just found that game after a little while, that if you didn't have the next miniature in the series, then you really were at a disadvantage. I mean, that's what was going on here, at least, with all the different sorts of builds and the interactions that each of the figures have with one another. And I enjoy Malifaux, and I've still got a hell of a lot of Malifaux figures that I want to get painted, but I just found it was one of those games that where the release waves were so frequent that it really made it difficult to keep up and collect, because there was something out every single month, and I'm not talking just like one figure or two figures. I'm talking about a whole shitload of them. Now, let's see if this stuff will go in here. Now, I've got a whole bunch of these syringes from someone who donated them to me at the old bunker, who was who used to work in a hospital, so that's why I have these. If anyone's wondering what's Viv doing with a massive bag of, what are they, 20cc syringes. I'm going to try, I don't know if this is going to go through here or if I'm just going to fill this up with concrete. Oh, okay. Oh, that kind of defeated the purpose of what I wanted to do with that syringe, and that was... Oh, no. No, there's no way. All I'm doing is squeezing out the liquid. Alright, we can put that in the bin. I kind of wanted to get in there, in the gaps in here, so it just didn't look so weird. I can't think of what I could use to get stuff in there and keep these crystals clean at the same time. Oh well, maybe I just won't do it. Oh, I really want to get something in there. You know what we'll do? Is we'll do this. Maybe we'll just drop it in there like that. This might have been a mistake. And then with a couple of popsicle sticks, whoops, with a couple of other popsicle sticks, maybe we can get in there and clean some of this mess up. It's not working too badly. It's not working too badly. So not as clean as I'd like it. But anyway, so yes, coming back to rambling and having a general chit chat about nothing. Malifaux. Really enjoyed watching the battle report from WGC recently. Oh crap! Oh fuck it. We'll just jam it in there and then clean it up like we did with the other one. That was cool fun, and I'm loving the format that Chung and the crew over there at the Wargamers Consortium are doing at the moment in terms of the battle report format with the multiple cameras and the switching and doing it live too. I mean, it's not easy to run a live broadcast, but those guys are doing a great job. So I don't know if you've seen it. What's your opinion of Emo Boy? Now be nice and keep in mind that WGC is kind of a little bit sort of WWE style. Everyone's playing characters and all that sort of stuff, so no harsh business towards Emo Boy. Come on, be nice. As a character, I thought he was pretty cool. He did get a lot easier to listen to as the video went on, as the show went on. He was actually pretty funny. I mean, I loved him, but I hated him more. I hate life almost as much as I hate being here right now. Oh man, I'm making a mess of these crystals, but whatever. So that, oh jeez, yeah, I reckon I might let that dry first, but I reckon that looks better with the crystals filled in the middle. So I'm going to leave that, see if we can jam some in here since we've got some left over. But I really like that format, that whole sort of ESPN sort of NFL style of a broadcast, where you've got the people playing the game and then you've got a couple of commentators, you've got multiple camera angles. I think it's cool, and I mean that's something that we were talking about a while ago at the bunker, about having this sort of this commentary of some commentators watching a live game and then being able to doodle on screen and draw stuff just like you see at the sports. It would have been cool, and now that I've seen that these guys are doing the same thing, it's just reconfirmed for me how awesome it is. It's good fun to watch. It'd be good fun to produce as a producer, as someone who enjoys stuffing around with cameras and technology, and not that I'm a massive tech guy, but it's cool. I really like it. So props to those guys. Go check it out if you haven't. I won't link it in the description below because I probably won't remember, given the fact that I'm rambling and this is approaching sort of, geez, 40 minutes. But I'll stick this up and we'll see if you stick with me. Maybe I'll stick something partway through one of these rambles. A code word or something. And if you tell me that code word, I'll send you a whole bunch of some sort of prize. Not a whole bunch. What am I talking about? A whole bunch of what? A whole bunch of loving. Some sort of prize for sitting through my incoherent rambles. I reckon once this dries I'll be able to shave a little bit of this stuff off of these crystals, so I'm not too concerned. Not too concerned at this point. Does look a little strange, but I'm sure it will sort itself out. few. So then we just need to jam a little bit in there. Oh geez, that one's going to be a nightmare. You know what? It's going to be so hard to get something in there without causing a massive amount of problems. Let's cause a massive amount of problems. Actually, I'm pretty happy with how these crystals have come up. For something that's just been cut out of a bit of foam and smacked together pretty quickly, I'm pretty happy. We'll see what they look like when the time comes to paint them. So like I was saying, I plan to put the airbrush on these pieces and see what that's like. I haven't airbrushed one of these crystals for a while, so I've no idea how it's going to turn out. But we shall see. Jam a little bit in that side and we'll call this one done. I don't know if I'm going to try and get in the other ones. Alright, so there we go. 4 little crystal stacks.